maybe Caleb, you want to hop in and just show us a quick view of Obsidian and how the Copilot helps Obsidian workflows for developers.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll go ahead and share my screen again. Great. And we'll hop over to Obsidian. And yeah, so this is the Obsidian integration, one of the ones that everybody knows and loves at this point. And yeah, as Cole mentioned, there's a couple features that I would like to demo today. One of them being our auto-enrichment feature, and then the other one having more to do with the Copilot. So yeah, jumping into our automatic enrichment feature, I have this little code snippet here. It's basically just like a daily note template, very common use case for Obsidian. And yeah, so we have this little pieces button here, and there's a bunch of quick actions you can do. The one that I would like to show off today is actually this one right here, which is pretty jam-packed full of features. And we're going to go ahead and click on it. Yeah, let's see what happens. There's a little bit saying, it's already enriched. Of course, yes, it was already enriched because, got to practice demos.
Yeah.
So it's going through the enrichment process right now. What's going to happen here is it's going to generate me a title. It's going to generate some tags, and it should also generate some links to other code snippets that are similar to this one within my Obsidian vaults. It might take a second. There's definitely a fair amount of ML processing going on in the background, as we were mentioning, contextualizing all of the code within your vault, as well as just, generating these kinds of titles and tags. Yeah, if anybody had anything else to offer on that, I'm definitely open.
Here's a question from Scott Jones. What does enrichment mean in this context?
Yeah, so enrichment is definitely, as you can see, the task just finished. Looks like it might have taken a little bit longer than usual. That's fine. So enrichment really here is as clear as day. As you can see, we added a title. We have some useful tags which you can use in your Obsidian graph view if you wanted. We generated a description as well. Just sort of annotating each one of your code snippets. And another one of the more interesting features, I would say probably one of the more unique features that we have, is we were actually able to create a markdown link, which is essentially going to link me to another file within my vault that has a code snippet that we were able to detect as somewhat similar, either in semantics or use case, to this daily note template that I have here. So you can even click on this, and it'll take me directly to that file. And I'm sure somewhere in here there's going to be a nice code snippet. Yep, it found me a good code snippet, which is very similar, same exact code snippet actually. And yeah, so that's really what the enrichment feature is all about. It's really creating those titles, creating those tags that help you in your searching process or your graphing process, as well as that really interesting feature of the auto linker of finding those similar code snippets within your vault. And that can be really helpful for somebody who might have a ton of notes in their vault, and maybe the code snippets are kind of spread out everywhere. And yeah, you could unlock certain pieces of code that maybe you totally forgot were even there, but are very relevant and very useful to what you're currently working on.
Yeah, and what I'll say is, a lot of people, including certain members of our team, they're Obsidian power users, right? And they take a lot of like long form notes, verbose notes that really are beyond just like the material type. And for us, our whole focus is the material type, where it is at, what's the context of it, etc. And it deeply complements Obsidian's strengths, which are focused on the entire note, right? The entire kind of body of research documentation. And so, the ability to say, hey, I'm in VS Code, right click, find something relevant that's over in Obsidian, nested deeply and in some documentation, that's how you start to get the interplay between what you're doing in pillar number 2, writing, reviewing, and editing code in the IDE, and then pillar number 1, which is researching and problem solving and note taking in browser and platforms like Obsidian. So we really try and complement those major workflow pillars, and then let them inform each other's context, so you get continuous insightful experience with Pieces.
Absolutely. Thank you, Savo. And yeah, sort of jumping into the next set of features that we were going to talk about today is the Obsidian Copilot. So, very, very similar to all of our other integrations, very similar to the PFD application. You have your context selector here. You can choose your runtime as you please. Right now, I have the Llama 2 model, 7 billion parameter GPU selected. And yeah, this kind of leads me into another statement that I would really like to make, which is, a lot of Obsidian users are very, very privacy aware, and as a lot of other people who don't even use Obsidian are, they just don't really want to be sharing the contents of their nodes, really with anyone online. It's no secret that OpenAI is using many of those conversations to further fine-tune, further train their models. So yeah, we kind of have taken a crack at solving this problem, where you can actually utilize Llama 2, which is a model that runs on your own machine. You really don't have any risk of somebody utilizing that data from your conversation in order to further fine-tune their models. So if you have private information, or maybe even information that's sensitive to maybe a business that you're operating within, using this kind of air-gapped experience with your Wi-Fi off is really something that's very attractive to this community. Yeah,
Caleb, I'll add in there. So real quick for Jay, the way we're able to crank out integrations so fast is because the extensibility of Pieces OS, and it's over localhost 1000. We have some WebSocket ports. It's very standardized, and actually a majority of our code is generated through an open API spec. So we will be not only cranking out more integrations ourselves, but we are looking in Q4 to open up an SDK support in a variety of languages. We're doing this for enterprise as they integrate within their internal tooling. And so we're going to make this available to the community at some point in Q4 ourselves. But yeah, NeoVim, we've gotten a good amount of requests on that, and we'll be taking a look. I don't have an answer that I can give you today, otherwise the team would kill me. But yeah, we'll 100% take a look at that. So yeah, and Caleb, I was just going to add to your note, the local LLMs basically take the entire Pieces OS suite offline. So now you can use every single experience, the saving, the searching, the generative AI stuff, completely air-gapped. I'll ship a demo to Twitter later with the Wi-Fi completely off. So it'll be good.
Yeah, one of my more favorite phrases these days is ChatGPT, no Wi-Fi. So
yeah, hashtag no Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Yep. We definitely have it. You could hop into airplane mode and you'd be totally fine. Yep. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just show a use case of the Obsidian plugin. We already went over. I have one of the Llama models selected, and in this context selector, I actually have one of my notes selected, which is kind of just going over how we do integration testing for the Obsidian plugin. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of question answering. I'll say, how do I do integration testing for my Obsidian plugin? And now the model is getting loaded into memory, and we should be sending over our chat to Pieces OS. And as you can see, this is all running on my own computer. It's using that note that I created, and really just giving me a really nice summary on really what are each of the little details that need to be hit on like a full integration test, really just to make sure the plugin works, which is something that's very important to do, as many developers I'm sure know.
Oh, yeah. And Caleb, I'll go ahead and answer 2 more questions that came in the chat. So, Travin, I think here, he made a good point, right? Sometimes I don't want the verbose, answer, right? And so, we will have an ability to kind of create like Copilot profiles, right? And, you've seen that. We have some stuff coming up with workspaces as well, where the Copilot's context will be scoped to workspaces. Think about workspaces as like PFD, except with Google Chrome profiles. So you can have your personal workspace, your enterprise workspace, whatever else it is. And so we are going to enable you to say, hey, it's not very verbose. It is very verbose. But then the other point of that is what you're seeing here is a conversational Copilot, but we are also looking at using Copilots to power search. So you saw some of the search stuff that I had. You can see as well, it's going to say, hey, here are relevant files, here are other suggested search queries or follow-up things. But we are in the process of taking the Copilot and making it available in different form factors so that sometimes you're like, hey, I want to leverage this for search as opposed to have a whole discussion. So yeah, coming down the pipeline for sure.
Yeah, definitely another really exciting feature that we have coming.
And it is, I saw the